Hello, everyone. Welcome to the July meeting of the City of Binghamton Planning Commission. My name is Nick Corcoran. I'm currently the chairman of this commission, which is comprised of local community members tasked with reviewing site plans and special use permits for consistency with the standards and criteria set forth in the City of Binghamton Code. Based on our total number of planning commission members, 4 members must be present to constitute a quorum. Tonight, we have all 7 members, which means we do have a quorum and can proceed. First item on our agenda is roll call. Mario DeFulvio. Joe D'Angelo. Chris Judgeets.
I am Rocky like a hurricane.
Nice. Kelly Weiss.
Present.
Manny Priest.
Here.
And Kyle Nedlick. All right. That's everybody, all 7. All right. Second item on our agenda tonight is approval of the June minutes. Does anybody see anything in the minutes that needed to be amended or revised? All right. Excellent summaries again, Phelan. All right, anybody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. I was
Yeah.
not here, but I did view the meeting online, and so it looks good.
All right, motion by Manny, second by Kyle, all in favor? All right, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, next item on our agenda are seeker determinations. In this portion of our meeting, the Planning Commission will be reviewing documentation provided by applicants for the first time. Applicants will be called to the microphone where they will be asked to make a presentation describing their plans to the commission. Commission members may then ask questions of the applicant to clarify any items that are unclear. And after all questions have been answered, the commission will deliberate and then either set a public hearing date for the project or request additional information before proceeding. To all applicants that will be presenting tonight, we ask that you please state your name and address for our records before beginning your presentation, and ask that any member of your team who will be speaking, please give their name and address for our public record. So tonight, our first seeker determination is for the applicant Eric Rundels. Project address is 225 Shenango Street. And this is a site plan review and special use permit for the establishment of an industrial cannabis business in an existing industrial building in the C6 Limited Neighborhood Commercial District. All right, and if you don't mind just making sure the green light is on. And you do have to speak right into the microphone.
Yep, we're good.
Perfect, thank you.
Hello. I'm applying for a cultivation license. I'll be growing 3,100 square feet of cannabis in this space. This is about a 10,000 square foot building, give or take. The lot size is about 12,500. And I'm going to use 65% of what would be allotted to me by New York State. I am AUCC applicant 0357 and am just going to be cultivating cannabis and lightly processing, which would be trimming and packaging and taking it out of this facility. We will have security cameras in the facility and outside of the facility in compliance with the state. And we will be reviewed by the state as frequently as they choose. Yeah.
All right.
Any questions?
Do you mind just stating your name and address for our record to start with?
Sorry. My name is Eric Rundels and that address is 225 Shenango.
Great. All right, questions? Chris, yeah?
First question. You're currently your application for your license is under review by New York State. What happens if New York State does not approve the application?
I have a backup plan. I have another license holder that would allow me to work under their license that already has a license. It's Birch and Bloom is the name of the farm.
When I think I would defer to people in planning and the city corporation council, if that's okay as the backup plan.
So I think that the way it would work is this would basically be an approval, if it does move forward, an approval for him to operate. And then if there was an issue with getting the license, they'd have to come back and present with that other cultivator underneath that license. And obviously all of that licensing has to get done through the state either way.
So the appropriate method then is for us to make our approval contingent upon New York State approving his application?
Yes.
All right. So we have a site plan in front of us. So it shows 8 parking spaces in front of the building.
We sent an updated version that had, I believe, we rotated the spaces. Those spaces, because we're not allowed to back up into the street, so we turned them sideways. And I believe we set them at 19 feet with 4 feet of extra space, which made them 23 feet long, and I believe they were 8'6" in width. And they will all be wheelchair accessible. One suggestion was to omit space 1 as a buffer for the landscaping zone, also where we had proposed to do possibly a bike rack.
All right, so does everybody else see the updated plan? Because I don't have the updated plan.
Another question that showed up in my email was about the garbage can. And the garbage can will be inside the building. The dumpster, and it has to have a lock on it as
Okay.
it's as per the law.
So it looks like there's a garage door on the one side of the building. It'll all
Correct.
right in there.
There's a very large space, garage
Okay.
space, yeah.
Okay, so nothing outside for dumpster. I bet there's a lot of people that are upset to hear about that. They'd like to go into your dumpster outside your building.
Little do they know there's nothing good in there. Except mold.
Sorry, just give us 1 second. We're just
Okay.
looking through the website where everything gets posted just to see if we have the updated plan.
Nick, I did not at least receive the updated plans. I'm not sure if Tito received it or not, and he's out this week, so since this is a secret determination, you can request the updated plan for next meeting. So we can, if we do receive it between now and then we can submit it.
Okay. All right, that sounds great. Yeah, so unfortunately, we're looking at the older plans. Can you just describe again how you adjusted the parking spaces?
Yeah, so the parking spaces are running lengthwise parallel to the building,
Oh, okay.
and there's 4 allotted spots. What bounced back to me was that the first spot would be omitted to have a buffer zone. So there would be 3 spots. If you do have the abstract in front of you, you'll see what appears to be a garbage can, or not a garbage can, more like a fenced in area. That will be removed.
Okay.
And then there'll be a concrete slab poured. And that would be the parking zone.
Okay. So if a person was coming, well, first off, who parks there? Just the employees or whoever's working in the building?
Just the employees.
Okay,
yes.
so nobody from the public is coming to
Correct.
go into this building at any point, right?
No, this is not open to the public.
Great.
There'll be no signage either on this building,
Okay,
other than an address.
all right. Great.
The OCM prohibits signs. They're very strict about signs. And frankly, I don't want to advertise.
That makes sense.
I guess in terms of the like the air filtration turnover in the building,
Mhm.
will there be odor mitigation? I know there's some houses nearby, so is that
Oh,
planned to be part of the plans?
Yes, the building has been spray foamed.
Okay.
And there will be very large carbon filtration systems. And there's also a system that brings in fresh air and ionizes it as it comes in. so that we don't bring in pollutants into the facility. So the building does have a fresh air supply.
Thank you.
I'm looking at, I guess, both the plans and there's a photo of the property. So next door, and maybe it looks like even attached to your building at 225 is a 3-foot, 3-story tall, I think it used to be like a dry cleaner shop. Do you also own that? Is that actually sharing a wall?
It is not, but I don't own it. I had inquired about purchasing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
But-
I would like to purchase it.
okay.
me say
But I guess my question then is, the rehab you're doing within your building, is it
Mm-hmm.
impacting at all what's going on structurally with what's
No.
the neighboring building?
No, we've done no structural work whatsoever.
Okay.
All right. What are the hours of operation that the building will be used?
8 AM to 4 PM.
Okay. Every day, weekend included or not on the weekend?
No, on the weekends, someone will just be checking in on the project.
Gotcha. And everything, grow lights or whatever that's not gonna be lighting up the night sky at night.
No, there's actually there's only one window in this building, and it's in the front where the bathroom is.
Great.
So there'll be no excessive light coming through.
All right.
So there's a couple moving parts to this. One is that this is going to require a zoning amendment because the district it's in does not allow any sort of cannabis businesses by right currently. And most likely, if the zoning amendment is passed, I would expect it to require a special use permit with it, since all of our other districts that permit cannabis businesses require a special use permit for them.
I met with the zoning board last month, I believe, for what you're describing, or for a special use. I was here last month.
So-
He acquired the use variance and he was approved
Okay.
from the
Yeah.
ZBA, so.
So you got the use, yeah, like I said, there's a couple of things going on. So there's use variance that was approved for.
Mhm.
The zoning amendment would have to go up through city council to get passed.
Okay.
And then assuming that it's with the special use permit would be issued through here along with site plan approval. Assuming that's the way the commission wants to go.
Okay.
What,
Wait,
What's the
Robert,
timeframe?
can we take a half a step back? So you mentioned the zoning issue. So
Yes.
I do remember, like feels like 3 years ago now, the city adopted I'm gonna call it like a color coded map. And you can put cannabis businesses in certain red neighborhoods, but not in certain yellow or blue neighborhoods. And there were carve outs around churches and carve outs around schools. So what's without having the color coded map in front of me, where is this business located right now in 225 Shenango? Is this in not red, or is it within some sort of school or church bubble?
So, yeah, it's in what's called the C6 Limited Neighborhood Commercial District. I don't know what other, like where this district is in connection with any of those other uses you mentioned.
It's very close to I-1 district, which allows industrial cannabis. So I don't believe they will have to go to city council for a zoning change, since they acquired the user variance through the zoning board. Because this use is not allowed in the C6 limited neighborhood commercial district, and since they acquired the use variance, depending on if the planning commission approves the project, this will be able to operate the business.
Okay.
So we have to look and see whether we can do the special use variance to get around the zoning or not. So we'll have to confirm that for the next meeting.
So let me just say, with this new fact on record, so I want to say this. So I am reluctant. It's one thing if you're in one of the cannabis zones. If 225 Shenango is not in one of the cannabis zones that's been already laid out, I am less interested in expanding said zones. I'm not saying others may be willing to make zoning changes, special use permits, but as one member of 7, I'm reluctant. Like, we went through a long process to figure out where we wanted these types of businesses within the city, between us, planning department, the city council. I don't know if I want to be redrawing these maps every 6 months when somebody new comes in. That's my 2 cents.
I believe right across the street from this building is the correct zone, unfortunately, for me.
So I'll have to check, but it looks like the zoning board of appeals, the use variance went up to them. I think it was approved, so that would deal with the zoning issue, so that the zoning amendment would be off. And it would just be dealing with site plan approval here, with that use variance having been granted.
All right, so the zoning board looked at this. They granted the use, the new or proposed use. So that's kind of already settled as far as allowed now.
And I'm gonna have to double check, because the notes from the application for that reference a special use permit from the planning commission. So I'm just gonna have to check and see what the what ZBA decided exactly, and whether they conditioned it on a special use.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So
Okay.
we'll figure out the answers to those pieces for the next meeting for you all.
All right. All right. Any other questions or concerns about the plan that was submitted? Just in the interest of transparency or not wasting the applicant's time, just in case Chris's comment runs through other people's concerns. Are other people concerned about the location of this being not exactly in one of those proposed zones, or just we can let him know? You don't have to answer him, just if you feel comfortable, just letting him get an idea of where he stands before we go a full month and then it comes out that everybody was against it right from the beginning. I personally, because it's directly adjacent, I'm okay with it. All right, so we got several okay with it.
Yeah, if the variance was granted and it doesn't require a special amendment by city council or anything, then I'm okay moving forward.
Okay. All right. Chris's comment, of course, is very valid, though. Not discrediting your comments.
No, it's true.
But, okay.
I've had plenty of things past 6 to 1 with
All right, so I'll make a motion that the proposal involves the reuse of an existing non-residential building, which is a type 2 action, so no further environmental review is required. Seconded by Kyle, all in favor? All right, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. And I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing at the August meeting for 5:15. Second by Kelly, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, so we'll see you back in August. And we'll open it up to public comment and see where it goes.
Okay, thank you
Alright.
very much.
Thank you.
Nick,
Yes.
before we move on to our next public hearing, I'd like to make a request maybe of the staff. Going forward, when they put together the staff reports for any of the projects that involve the cannabis laws, would it be okay to request that some sort of that color coded map for that neighborhood also be included in the staff report along with a little Google map so we can see, you know, when
Yeah.
it's either in the red or in the yellow or in the green or in one of the bubbles around a school or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. I mean, alternatively, you could just memorize the entire map, Chris. Come on. This seems pretty lazy on your part, but.
Fair, Nick. That's fair. That's fair.
Uh, All right, so on to the next portion of our meeting, which is public hearings and final deliberations. In this portion of our meeting, we will be holding open public hearings to obtain public opinion in regard to specific projects that are up for review. Applicants will be asked to come to the microphone and make a brief presentation describing their project. For most projects, this is the second time we are reviewing your information, so it would be very helpful if you could please give us a brief overview of your project to remind us what you're planning to do, and then clearly identify any changes that have been made since the last time we saw you. When the applicant is done presenting and any clarifications have been reviewed, we will open the public hearing and allow members of the community to speak about the applicant's proposal. After the commission has heard from all community members interested in speaking tonight, the public hearing will be closed and the commission will deliberate. To our applicants, when your project name is called, please come to the microphone and start off by giving the name and address of any members of the applicant's team that are planning to speak. And to anyone from the community that will be speaking in regard to a project tonight, please also start off by stating your name and address for our records. All right, tonight, our first public hearing is for the applicant Stephen Vassallo. The project address is 23 Henry Street. And this is a site plan review and special use permit to convert the upper stories of an existing mixed-use building into a multi-unit dwelling with 12 units and 48 total bedrooms in the C2 Downtown Business District.
Good evening, I'm Steve Vassallo, address 9102 Whistling Swan Lane in Manlius, New York.
Good evening, Anthony Rojas, architect from In Architects, 239 East Water Street in Syracuse, New York. We're excited to be back for our second meeting here to present 23 Henry Street. It's an existing 5-story masonry building, wood timber structure on the interior. Currently, there's an existing restaurant on the first floor. We're proposing that to remain as is. We'll be upgrading some of the interior spaces for finishes and lighting, things like that, but will remain the same use. The 4 stories up above, levels 2 through 5, are currently student housing. They're one large unit, 14 bedrooms on each floor currently, utilizes student housing. And our intent is to convert those into 3 separate units. So reducing the amount of area per unit. And they're either a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom arrangement on each floor, totaling 52 bedrooms and 12 units throughout the building, 3 per floor. In terms of changes from the last time we presented our drawings, we really focused on the site plan. And per your recommendations, we looked at the parking layout and reoriented the layout so that we can meet current sizing and spacing of parking spaces and access to them. And also reducing the amount of curb cut that currently exists. It's one long recessed depressed curb cut along the entire Prospect Ave boundary of the property. So we've reduced to a single curb cut of 24 feet of length in an area in which the curb cut currently kind of starts on that street, accessing a reduced number of parking spaces. We previously had about 34 parking spaces, and in this current layout, it's been reduced to 23, just based on how much drive aisle you need, how much space you need to access these parking spaces. So we would have to request a reduction of parking spaces, and I believe 50% is the allowable reduction. So with the 23 spaces, we're really requiring 28, so we would be in need of reduction of 5 spaces based on the overall parking count. We do show a new dumpster enclosure right along Prospect Ave, so that'll be a separate 18-foot curb cut, still maintaining the 5-foot setback from our property line for the start of that wood fence enclosure. And that would be the only, other area in which we do not create that that we would create that recessed kind of curb cut entry so that dumpster trucks could service the enclosure. The remaining area around the parking spaces, our owners proposing to mulch and landscape all of that area so that it's surrounded by brand new landscaping on all sides. So happy to take any questions.
All right. Chris, start us off.
So you're under the new updated plans, reducing the parking to 23 spots. And you're asking us to grant the waiver. And you pointed out that we have the ability to grant the waiver for at least half. Why should we grant the waiver?
It was this board's recommendation to modify the existing parking spaces. So based on the parking count today and the way that they're utilized today, we do have the appropriate number of parking spaces. But based on the board's recommendation of changing the sizing, altering the access to the site, enlarging the drive aisles, that we were just forced into the result of how much we can actually fit on the site today.
I think just to clarify, at the last meeting, the proposed layout of the parking it's pretty horrible the way it's laid out currently. And so it was almost like a compromise. If you could lay it out in a little bit of a better layout, we might be amenable to a reduction in spaces. But Chris wasn't here at the last meeting, just
Right.
to clarify that. He's a stickler for parking.
It was still
so-
a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parking.
Yeah, I think it was in the staff report as well too, to look at that parking layout as well. So
Yeah,
I just noticed that.
all right. Any other questions before we open the public hearing?
And if I may note one more item, that an update from last time, this is a SHPO project. We're currently in the part 2 process. We have our positive recommendation from New York State that's forwarded this to National Parks. So we did receive that recommendation, so we should be hearing of approval shortly for the project.
All right. All right, well, let's open the public hearing and see if anybody's here to talk about the project. So this is the public hearing for the applicant Stephen Vassallo. The project address is 23 Henry Street. And this is a site plan review and special use permit to convert the upper stories of an existing mixed-use building into a multi-unit dwelling with 12 units and 48 total bedrooms in the C2 Downtown Business District. If there's anyone who would like to speak about the project, please come down to the microphone. All right. And we didn't receive any letters or texts in the planning department for this project.
That's correct.
All right. All right, seeing no one approaching the microphone, we'll close the public hearing. Any other questions or concerns about their plans? All right.
The only other thing would be the 239 comments from the county.
Right. Thank you for the reminder. That's right. Did you guys get a copy of the 239 review comments from Broome County?
I believe we did, and I believe one of the recommendations was around the dumpster. Correct.
These were the comments from last month?
No, they're county review comments. Broome County. I could read a couple of them if you want. So the county recommends, the residential units should include universal design for all age groups and abilities. The site plan should show the SHPO determination, COD decision, staff report recommendations for sidewalk and parking layout, which more or less you did. Any dumpster enclosure, plans for trash removal, and any special use permit requirements, zoning table and table with breakdown of units and bedrooms per floor. And the special use permit section of the application should be completed to the extent necessary. So,
They did complete the last part about which was question 19, I believe, in the application. So we did receive that, and it's in the base camp.
Got you.
I believe our, sorry, and I believe our drawings do take into account the early comments, so.
Yeah.
If you agree.
Okay.
And this has not gone before COD yet.
Oh, not before COD yet? You have a COD. COD? Oh, yeah, COD. What does COD stand for?
I'm sorry, what was it? No, we have not been before them.
Okay. I think,
Is that like a historic preservation kind of review?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
They will have to go to COD if they're making any outside facade changes. So COD doesn't necessarily review anything that's happening on the inside of the building. It's more on the outside. So
And in
Alright.
our experience with historic preservation boards, usually if we are chasing SHPO, like it's a historic tax credit process, they kind of defer, like if you're approved by them, it's sufficient for our requirements, but I don't know if they operate differently here or not.
yeah. So for this project, COD was not already identified as a agency they would have to get approval through.
Right, no.
Okay. All right. All right. All right, so at the last meeting, we determined that the proposed use involved the reuse of existing mixed-use building, which was a type 2 action, so no seeker determination was required. All right, so I'll make a motion that for the reduction of 5 parking spaces, yeah, a motion to approve the reduction of parking spaces by 5.
I'll second.
All right, second by Manny, all in favor? All right, all opposed? All right, 6-1, 6 in favor, 1 opposed. And I'll make a motion that the requirements for site plan review and special use permit have been met. Seconded by Kyle.
I
All in-
would condition that on COD approval, because there are exterior renovations listed in terms of repairing masonry, repainting surfaces, refinishing, decorating columns, as well as, moving a staircase. They're also talking about adding new lighting. The new lighting will definitely have to go before COD if it's going to be exterior lighting on the building.
Okay,
So.
all right, so
no
that,
comment.
the motion also contingent on receiving COD approval. All right, second by Kyle, all in favor? All opposed? All right, 6 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, so probably check with the planning department about the COD issue there. But yeah. you're
Yeah,
off-
I mean,
off
if
and running.
SHPO's involved, they're probably gonna look at most of it and say it's fine, and whatever SHPO wants is fine. But still gotta go through the process.
All right. All right, our second public hearing tonight is for the applicant Francisco Matasans. Project address is 40 Clinton Street. And this is a site plan review and special use permit for the conversion of an existing commercial building into an event venue in the C4 Neighborhood Commercial District. Welcome.
Hello, Francisco Matasans.
hi, I'm Alana Matazans, at 40 Clinton Street.
Same, 40 Clinton Street, Binghamton, 13905.
All right.
So we're here tonight to present our event space and photo studio. It is a little over 3,000 square feet of space. It was formerly a dry cleaner. We've gone through the process of kind of getting it all cleaned out and ready to build out. So we're kind of here to get things going.
All right. Any questions to start off with? Kelly?
What happened to our pet crematorium?
Yeah, do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, so unfortunately, it just kind of didn't work out, in the sense of, fitting in with the rest of the businesses we have. The photo studio and the kind of event aspect of things kind of falls a little more in line with what we just know. Yeah.
And we actually already have a photo studio, so it's kind of an expansion of that business that's already doing pretty well.
Gotcha. Was the pet crematorium you guys too?
It was, yeah,
Oh,
this is
okay,
the
all right.
same space. Yeah, it was a process. Yeah. We did get approved though. I did get the
Yeah.
licenses. I could have went through. I know it was contingent. I could have got it.
This is much better. I
Yeah.
think.
This,
Oh.
we feel like this also will benefit the community a lot more. We'll be able to do more things that community could come to.
Yeah.
Just create a more of a vibe on Clinton Street, for sure.
Gotcha. All right. So let's see. So the staff report. The staff recommended paving of the parking lot with asphalt or other permeable material and proper striping of the parking spaces. Is that?
Yeah, that's something we definitely want to do. I don't know if it's in the budget right off the get-go, definitely striping for sure. But there are a couple little patches that need to get fixed, but maybe the whole thing, if I could get away with maybe a couple years would be great.
Okay. How's everybody feel about that?
Have
It
we
would definitely
granted
be patched and fixed up where it's not nobody's gonna be tripping over a pothole.
Yeah.
It'll be done to that extent, like I said, with the striping, for sure. It's just, in my opinion, it's not in that bad of a condition.
Okay.
Have we granted a conditional on paving within 2 years before?
I think we've leaned away from that in traditionally.
I mean, Nick, my concern, all humor aside, if the planning staff has specifically identified this issue in their staff reports, this flags it for me that there's something not great about the current parking lot.
Okay.
It's bad enough that somebody in planning is like, yeah, this really should be addressed.
Okay,
Like,
maybe I
there was
misunderstood.
another recent Clinton Street proposal from another applicant where there was some debate back and forth about, the quality of the parking, and we can do some gravel, we can do some grass patches, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, what is from the time of approval, you knew this question was coming, right, Rob? From the time of approval to when they have to actually make significant progress on, what is it, 6 months? Within 6 months? Have we ever done an extension on when progress would have to be made on a portion of the plan?
We probably could build something in, and, defer it to planning, where planning would have sort of the discretion to extend it,
Okay,
rather than having them come back here,
okay,
assuming that progress is being made.
okay. And the reality of getting or the pavement being a problem, if they're making progress on the renovations to the building within 6 months, that could push out having to get the pavement done to whenever the end of all of those improvements are done, or it would reset the clock a little bit. The full project. Okay,
I think looking at the pictures that's here, like, I'm not necessarily like super concerned about citing it versus potential liability issues if someone's walking through it and it's uneven or there's a problem there. Obviously if it continues to deteriorate, citation becomes more of a problem.
okay.
I have a thought.
Okay. Yeah. Could we do like a 2-year?
Theoretically, I would probably stay away from 2 years for paving.
Okay.
You know, 6 months to a year to go out and look at it again, I think is kind of reasonable.
How's that sound as a compromise? 12
That
months?
sounds great. I didn't know it was gonna be that, but I maybe didn't understand how serious of an issue it was concerned with the staff report thing. So I guess I didn't give it as much weight. And
Okay.
that's where maybe the joke came in and about that in the 2 years. If it's an issue, I want to make you guys happy ultimately and get the project moving. So
All right.
if I gotta find the money somewhere, I gotta find the money, it's,
There may
Alright.
be an option of having it looked at by maybe an engineer to say that a seal coat would give you time. You patch all the pavement, but again, I'm not getting into designing it here in our conversation, but to go to an overlay of 1 or 2 inch of asphalt paving, there's another course. Have an engineer who does that often, look at it, and a seal coat and repair may give you a lot less expensive fix that may work. So it should be looked at by someone that can say what it needs.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll definitely contact somebody along those lines to see if that could be done for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
between patching and doing that.
All right, so everyone okay making that a condition of approval? With the,
What's the condition?
So would it be like patched or paved per engineer recommendation? Is that, but I don't know if that's two contingencies, if that's allowable.
Yeah, I would say full paving and restriping within,
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think what you could do is condition sort of the paving and restriping subject to planning department final approval of what that plan is. Whether that's, you know, having to go down and repave the whole thing, or whether you could do sort of that sealing route. You know, let them look at it, get the stuff to plan, and then planning can green light it or not.
Okay. And now, could there be the potential, I mean, because obviously the job is gonna take several months to complete and this and that. And I would need to get a certificate of occupancy type situation, is maybe like around that time, when, if it is 6 months or 8 or whatever. It maybe be evaluated, and within that time, I would obviously try to patch it, do the seal coat situation. Make it where it's not an issue and it be part of the certificate of occupancy or type situation, or
I think they're two separate.
they are, okay,
Yeah, they're
I
kind of
don't
two
know how it
separate
works.
things, Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'd say keep those separate.
Okay,
But I think this will give you kind of the compromise or the flexibility. So we're okay with the plan. It's up to you to work with the planning department to come up with that solution for the parking lot, basically.
So, yeah, I mean, you can basically say, hey, go to planning can decide what level of paving is required. And then, you know, as I mentioned, you could also grant planning the option to extend the time to do it.
so I could kind of almost like get a quote or two, say, hey, this is what they presented that they could do with it, if it's a seal coat type situation, or they're
Yeah, I
saying
mean,
to,
the planning commission could give planning the option to basically extend it out, you know, again, 6 months to that year, depending on what they want, what you guys want to do.
yeah, I'm not sure I'd be comfortable putting any kind of timeline beyond a year.
I guess the only thing is with it being July, should we look at like 14 months instead of 12, just because
of the season.
just seasonality and availability?
Okay.
Just a thought.
Want to do 14 months then? All right,
Sure.
14 months.
Got your calendar, Greg?
All right. I'll put it in my.
We'll post it.
Okay, well, that seems like a good compromise then, if you're okay with that. All right, any other questions, concerns? for this one before we open? So you're here for a public hearing and you're here for everything tonight, huh?
Trying to get it done.
Yeah. Um. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's open the public hearing and see if anyone's here to speak about the project. All right, so this is the public hearing for the applicant Francisco Montesans. Project address is 40 Clinton Street. The project is a site plan review and special use permit for the conversion of an existing commercial building into an event venue in the C4 Neighborhood Commercial District. If there's anyone who would like to speak about the project, please come to the microphone. All right, and for this project, we did get one text. It looks like a text message.
It was a email.
It
but
was an email.
That's the best way we could submit
Okay.
it.
All right. So it was from Asif Giuliani from 176 Murray Street. And I'll just read it since it's the only letter we received. I've received legal notice of public hearing about 40 Clinton Street from Planning Commission of the City of Binghamton. I'm writing this email stating that I am opposing this proposal. The reason being that there is nothing stating what type of business will be occupying this property. I already live in a high crime rated neighborhood, and depending on the type of business, this could increase crime. A bar would be open until 1 a.m. on weekdays and 3 a.m. on weekends. An increase of people using alcohol and marijuana, which usually ends up with more activity. So before I can approve this zoning ordinance, I would like more information. Unfortunately, I am unable to attend the meeting, so I am opposing this bill. So. Oh, that's you. Okay. Yeah, come on down to the microphone. If you guys don't mind just taking a spot on the side there. Yep, right at the microphone.
My name is Asif Jelani. I live on 176 Morris Street. Reason why I emailed that because I didn't know what business is going on. It was a misconception, or I didn't understand what kind of business he is going to open.
Gotcha.
So that's why I just emailed it, because my neighborhood unfortunately is not, I'm sorry, it's not really a good neighborhood. So that's why I thought if it's the bar is going to open it, then it's going to create more problems. That's why. But now I met with Mr. Francisco, and he mentioned that he's not going to open a bar. So I'm not opposing, agree with that. So I'm not opposing this bill.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great idea. He's going to bringing us some good business over here. Good for the community. I appreciate that.
All right, fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Any questions? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else who wants to speak about the project? All right, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. All right, any last questions, comments? Chris?
And just to clarify for the record, so you mentioned this is among other things, besides the photography studio, also an event space. So you'd be renting it out for like wedding receptions and birthday parties and anniversary parties, things like that.
Pretty, yeah, like small to medium sized events, like very family oriented, nothing too crazy.
All right.
Oh, we also have 239 comments for this project as well.
All right. Let's check those out. All right, so the the county reviewed this project as well. They say the historic character of the existing street lamps should be considered in the selection of the design of new exterior lighting. And the site plan should show compliance with the BMTS and Broome County Health Department comments and include the existing lighting plan, a dumpster enclosure, any signage awning design, window treatments, parking lot improvements as recommended in the staff report, and the COD review when completed. So would this be up for COD review? I don't think so. Yeah, okay. Maybe they just added as a blanket comment.
I wonder if our friends over at county planning have like form language that they're just cutting and pasting.
Yeah,
It would not be going to the card. It's not in the historical district, but BMTS did mention that the one single parking space on the western side of the property should be taken out. Since the applicant doesn't really need any parking spaces, according to the section listed in the staff report. Because that's a safety concern, a vehicle will be backing out onto the traffic. So that should be taken out.
okay. Yes, so the comment was that the parking space that's, if you're facing the building on the left-hand side there, is that,
So I guess with that, how do you get rid of it is one question. And then would I be able to just put like a no parking sign kind of thing? So it's not advertised as a parking spot? I gotta be honest, I'm usually the only one that ever parks there just because I have like a chain up right now, in the parking lot. So I park right there, go open the chain up kind of situation.
yeah, I think, so I guess there's lots of ways to address it. The ideal solution, I think, would be to remove the pavement, so it didn't look like a parking space, but Chris?
Maybe a question for the applicant. So I'm looking at, I guess, one of the set of plans. What is this thing labeled? And yeah, so are you planning on turning part of this into a garage with a garage door?
That was the crematory part.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
all
I'm sorry.
right. So I'm looking at some old,
Yeah,
Okay.
I had so many designer guys look at it. They never changed certain things,
All
or
right.
they left certain labeling, but no, yeah.
gotcha. So I'm retracting my question.
Okay.
So, I guess would it just be removing the curb cut that's there? Maybe re-pouring a curb? Is that a way to get rid of it?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
it's concrete there. It's not blacktop, so it's not.
Yeah.
So again, this is one of those things where these are the county comments, the recommendations, the planning board can kind of use its discretion looking at this, whether and what makes sense for the project. So that would be my only comment on this, the commission.
okay,
For the record, I'm not concerned with that single parking space. I'm
Okay.
not gonna bust the applicant's chops about that.
all right,
Yeah,
Anybody
in a
else?
perfect world, but
great.
put a picnic table out there, I guess, and
Yeah.
block it off, something.
Okay,
Oh.
okay, that's an interesting, right.
It's an
Some-
excellent
something
solution,
that
yeah.
Where nobody can park there. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That sounds good. Then nobody's
But
really
I'm not
concerned
gonna
about that
Put
comment.
a requirement, yeah.
Great. All right, we'll move on from that then. Let's see, just making sure we covered all the comments. Then there's a little bit of a more complicated comment about the project is located on a former dry cleaner site. Any observed contamination of soils, soil vapors, or groundwater, excuse me, associated with the facility or other sources must be reported to the New York State DEC and cleaned up as required. So,
We contacted the New York DEC after that email, and they said they don't have anything on the site, that there's no concern on their end,
oh, great.
that they don't have any, record of that they kept on it. Great.
All right. And I'm sure you're probably already aware of the food permit you'd need to get.
Correct.
from
Yeah. So
Health
again, we've
Department.
been trying to be in contact with them, get that moving, see
Great.
the classes we got to take, all that.
All right. All right. So I think that's all the 239 comments. All right. Anything else? Anybody concerned about anything else? All right, so this, I'll make a motion. Excuse me. The proposal. I'm not gonna be able to do it. Excuse me. The proposal involves the reuse of an existing residential building, which is a type 2 action, and no further environmental review is required. So make a motion, seconded by Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 7 in favor, 0 opposed. And I'll make a motion that the requirements for the site plan review and special use permit have been met, contingent on that the parking lot is repaved and striped per planning department approval, and that the planning department, it'll be at the planning department's discretion of what that treatment for paving is, and that we'd like the amount of time that the planning department has to review that should be extended to 14 months. All right. Second by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 7 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, good luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
To clarify, that's for completion, not review of the paving.
Yes, completion within 14 months. Yep. All right, on to our last public hearing and final deliberation. So the last applicant is the First Ward Action Council. The project address is 41 Clinton Street. This is a site plan review and special use permit for the construction of a mixed-use building with 3 2-bedroom units, 16 one-bedroom units, and 2 ground floor and commercial spaces in the C4 Neighborhood Commercial District. I think we were basically.
Yeah, the applicant's not here. I did inform them, but last meeting, I think we said that if we received 239 comments that had no significant countywide impacts, that they did not have to be present.
That's right.
Yeah, all we had left were the 239 comments, if any. As far as I know, we haven't received any. So it's just voting on the application at this point.
All right.
And I think we have to close the public hearing.
Okay.
I think we left it open, so we just had to check to see if anybody was still here to comment and then could close it.
All right.
Oh, wait, we do have 239 comments.
We do. Yeah, we got it like a day after the meeting.
Yeah.
These ones came in. But DOT had no comments. They recommended that coordination between the applicant and Norfolk Southern Railway is advisable. And then just a blanket statement about the MS4, that the project is within the within an MS4, but they had already acknowledged they were doing a full stormwater plan. So that would meet all the MS4 requirements. And they did talk about elevated levels of groundwater contaminants from the E.H. Titchener manufacturing facility across the street. And that they recommend that the applicant consult with the DEC to determine if offsite impacts are a concern at the project location. But I don't see that as being part of our review for this project. It's kind of up to them. All right. Yeah, any other questions or concerns about this one? All right, so I think it was kind of just a technicality that we're waiting for the 239 review comments, so if there's anyone who would like to speak about the project, this is the public hearing, is still open, so. Nope, all right.
To the crowd, this is Aiden. He's an MPA student from Binghamton University. He's interning in our office.
All
So
right,
I had him come to check out how local government works.
all right.
Great.
You sure you don't want to comment on this project and just? All right, so seeing no one approaching the microphone, we'll finally close the public hearing for this project.
Do you need a motion? Or
What's that?
do you need a motion or?
Uh,
Okay.
no, I think we just normally just chop it off. All right, and all right, so this was an unlisted action, so see if I can get through this one. All right, so I'll make a motion for a negative declaration for seeker review based on the following. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? No or small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkways? No or small impact. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact the existing public or private water supplies or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? No, or small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No or small impact. And will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No or small impact. So based on those items, I'll make a motion for a negative declaration for seeker review. Seconded by Chris, all in favor? All right, it's 7 in favor, 0 opposed. And I make a motion that the requirements for the site plan review have been met. Sorry, I'm just looking back because they needed a lot coverage and reduction by 3 parking spaces. So the planning board commission has the ability to modify that lot coverage
Yes, I believe up to
up
5%.
to 5%. Okay. So before doing the site plan review motion, I'll make a motion to grant the applicant the additional 5% of lot coverage up to 75%, and also a reduction of parking spaces by 3 parking spaces. All right, second by Kelly, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, so make the final motion that the site requirements for site plan review and special use permit have been met. Second by Kelly, all in favor? All right, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, that concludes public hearings and final deliberations. And now we're on to other business, which includes the zoning amendments to make social services a land use that is permitted by right in the I-1 Urban Business District, Business Park District.
No,
No.
motion to say no.
All right. Yeah, how does everyone feel after?
I wasn't here last month, so I didn't hear much of the discussion, but I don't like the idea that, if we make a decision that city council will try to like veto us, overrule us, that's not the point of what we're here for.
Yeah.
It's such a slippery slope. You want to think it the best of the world is going to happen there and it's for good reasons. But then why wouldn't you come all over the state to come to Binghamton, New York to do whatever you're going to do for social services that could be something, we don't want to end up like the jungle in Ithaca where they have this craziness going on. I didn't like the way it was presented last time, really quick before felt like they knew a couple people weren't going to be here who might vote it down. I really thought this was a shady move and I was disappointed in it. And I don't say too much about that, but I was disappointed in the way this came about. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I think even if any of us agreed with it in practice, SPO of the process it's supposed to go through. That's important, and I think it was noted in some of the department memo as well. I was nodding my head, I think, while I was reading a lot of that, so agreed with the other comments as well.
All right.
My other suggestion would be to address this proposed amendment through the light of the comprehensive plan. Do you want to talk about at all about that, or?
Right now, social services requires a special use permit to be located in any district. By changing it to being allowed by right in an industrial district doesn't meet comprehensive plan goals. The special use application process allows neighborhood residential comment on any siting of facilities. And by making it approved by right, allowed by right, it takes that away. So that was part of the, I mean, it's not like spelled out in the comp plan, but the comp plan doesn't support rezoning. So, and actually, comp plan wants that to remain as an industrial park, was recognized as that.
Yeah,
So,
those zones are carefully thought through,
yeah.
like you mentioned, and so to try and forego the public, especially the public comment, I think that's really important that you know, us and others should have to face what the public, hear what the public has to think about it as well, so another reason, yeah.
And honestly, having it allowed in an industrial I-1 district is not the best land use to have social services in, and it would be hard to justify.
All right. All right, so we got a copy of the memo. This already went to city council? Is that correct?
Is that the one from Tito?
Yes, June 11th,
I think he sent a note that it has not been.
oh, it
sent
has not
yet.
been yet?
Yes, that appears to be the same or very similar to the one that he sent city council outlining the planning department's concerns with the zoning amendment.
Okay. I think everything he said in there, I agreed with.
Sure.
Is it okay if we base our recommendation on the letter that we received? The memo, that we agree with all the points that were outlined in the memo?
Yeah.
Okay. Is everyone okay with just doing that? Seems like it was well thought out.
Mhm.
All right. Anyone want to make that motion for whatever? All right, Kelly? All right, so a motion for the planning commission to recommend denial or recommend, that's what we're just making a recommendation, right? Recommendation for denial. That's, okay. All right, motion by Kelly. Oh, sorry. And it's all based on we all agree with everything, all the points listed in the memo dated June 11th, 2024. All right. Motion by Kelly, second by Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Well, that was easy. All right, anybody have any other business they want to talk about? Anybody see anything going on that's shady that they want to bring up now? Shorter meeting? All right.
I do, sorry, and I'll keep it brief. The South City Park over there by the hole in the wall. It's just so bad,
Oh.
like today especially, I own a business right there. So today especially, it was so much garbage. The police have been there, but I don't know, they're there. There was so much garbage today. It looked like somebody brought a truck and just dumped it. It was cleaned up by the time I got out of work. Yeah, they cleaned it up and they did a great job, but there was broken glass all over, and to the credit of some of the people that hang out there, they were cleaning it up themselves. They didn't want anybody to get hurt and whatnot, but boy, it's a mess. So I know, but it's a mess.
Where's it coming from? Oh,
Party like shady little ugly stuff.
gotcha.
Sorry.
All right. Chris?
Nick, what's the story with all your favorite wreckers?
Yeah, anything more on, you save or? Okay. Yeah. Well, they're in direct, conflict with what was approved, so, yeah. That's great. I forgot all about it. I just looked at it the other day and was like, oh, I gotta remember to bring that up. All right. All right. Motion to adjourn by Mario. Motion, all right. Seconded by Manny, all in favor? All right, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, thank you.